Serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza. Your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And RF Group. Money at Work.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Ort Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is January the 17th, 2020, Martin Luther King Day, celebrated in the United States and other places throughout the world. Again, I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you again to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a belated happy birthday as well. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and also that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. One individual whom we know, that will be, his memory will be a blessing to many, including the Radio Cayman family. And that is Mr. Dolan Hunter, also known as Number One. We learned of his passing over the weekend, and he will be greatly missed, not only by his family, but friends and us here at Radio Cayman as well. As you know, Mr. Dolan loved his country, loved the Cayman Islands, and in particular loved the Brac, Cayman Brac. Very outspoken. He didn't pull punches at all. He told you and spoke things the way that he saw it. And many times he was correct in what he had to say. He was prepared to say things that some persons would hesitate to say, but he was a straight shooter, and he always was shooting from the hips as well. So, Ms. Susan, I hope and I trust that, you know, those little intros that Radio Cayman has in terms of advertising Radio Cayman, and we use various persons' voices to introduce shows and stuff like that. Number One had several sayings, and hopefully in one of those was, if you don't like it, tough luck. And hopefully management here at Radio Cayman can incorporate Mr. Dolan Hunter, Number One's voice into some of our adverts, or I'm not sure what they call our intros for Radio Cayman, because he was a stalwart, he was an icon, and we will all missed him. We know how much we missed him when we periodically heard from him. At one time, it was basically on a regular basis, but we also know that he had some health challenges, and those were the times then we knew that when we didn't hear from him that it was possible that he was experiencing those, or he was traveling back and forth from Cayman Brac to Grand Cayman. So to the family of Mr. Dolan Hunter, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. He will be missed by all. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility, we want to wish you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Art Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson, back in the saddle, waiting to take your calls. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. The latest COVID update that we have and some other announcements from the Health Services Authority, I will share those with you later on, because I do have a guest in the studio and we want to give her as much time as possible to talk about the scholarship program in the Cayman Islands, the datelines, and you would have heard a public service announcement also made earlier on Radio Cayman about the scholarship program as well. So without any further ado, I again want to say good morning, Happy New Year, and welcome to Dr. Shari Smith, who is in the studio with us. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Okay. So scholarships, extremely, extremely important. And we're going to talk about some dates, the datelines that have been set. Yes. But if time allows, if your time allows, also want you to talk about those persons who are just going off to university, or even here in the Cayman Islands, some of the things that they should expect, some of the challenges that they may have, or they may think of them as challenges, and how they can overcome those as well. So with that, I'm going to throw the mic over to you.
Okay. Give me my assignment for this morning, Mr. Hunter. Okay, so, well, let me first start with the really, I guess, the pressing matter, which is currently our overseas scholarship application period is open for students who are interested in studying overseas starting September 2022. I don't know when we got into 2022, but September 2022, or looking at starting in January 2023. Okay. This is when they would be applying, because the overseas applications open once during the year. And then again, the local then, because as soon as we basically close overseas, within a month, we're opening the local applications, right? So it's been open since November the 15th, but the closing date is January the 31st, which is literally basically in 2 weeks, 2 weeks and a half. There is, I was on leave for the holidays.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I went to spend some time with my daughter overseas in university because she couldn't come home. Okay. Which is, interestingly, she's calling me now, so obviously she doesn't know that I'm on the radio talking about her, or she knows that I'm talking about her, so she's calling. She hears our ears ringing. So I came back and I was like, okay, how many, applications do we have in the system that's ready to be starting reviewed? And my staff just kind of looked at me and they were like, well, we have about 300, and I want to say we have between 348 to 380 something scholarships that have been applications that have been started. We only have about 35 to 40 applications who have been completed and submitted. It's a bit concerning.
Yes.
Right? And I don't know how often I have, I'm on the radio or wherever and I'm telling people, please do not wait to the last minute to try and finish this process. We have a new portal system which really makes it a lot easier for you to complete the application process, because the previous application required you to complete certain things in order. This process, this new application portal that we have does not require you to do that. So things like copies of your birth certificate or your high school transcripts or your person, your photo that you're putting on there, all of those things should be quite handy to get, right? Your parents' job letter, the means testing form, and which you actually print off, sign, put back up, load back up. So there's a lot of things that really they should not be holding people up from getting completing the application. I want to remind potential applicants, that you do not need to have an acceptance letter to a university at this point.
Okay.
What we need to see is that you have reached out to a university and that you have gotten some information back. If you're looking at going to the UK, then you're usually going to be using the UCAS system. And once you put in your university selection, UCAS will usually send you a response email back saying, your application has been forwarded to those 3 or 4 places, right? So that's what we would want to be seeing if you are applying for undergraduate scholarship. If you are applying for a postgrad scholarship, then that means that you've completed, or you're in the process of completing your undergraduate. So if you've already been on scholarship, then you should already have handy, because you would have had to hand them in a copy of them every time you submitted your documentation for your payment. You should already have a copy of your transcript up until, probably at least up until September, right? So again, we don't expect to see the final transcripts because we know you haven't finished school. Personal statements, the questions are there. We've encouraged people to print that off, think about it, really, put some thought into how you're presenting yourself. So really, there really should not be anything holding up individuals from completing the process and submitting it. Our intention our hope was that with this new portal system, what we would have been able to do with people being able to submit their completed applications, as soon as they've completed it, we would actually be able to start the review process online and then initiate the interviewing process sooner. And so persons would be able to know, possibly by the end of mid-April, whether or not they were, on that conditional level of receiving a scholarship, right? Rather than what has happened because of the limitations, not just of our system, but of course our resources, is that your applicants aren't usually notified until the end of May, June, and people start going into panic by then, right? So we really were hoping that to be able to facilitate doing that process a lot earlier and more succinct. But if I've still got 340 something plus applications who have not been submitted 2 weeks ahead of time, it unfortunately doesn't look like we're going to be able to attempt to do that kind, what we were hoping to. But it doesn't mean that it still can't begin, right? The other challenge, which I think people may be having, our ministry is still working on shifts. But we have a shift, basically, we have 2 shifts. So we have persons who are in the office and we have persons who are remote. So what I highly recommend is that if you are having any problems, any questions, any issues with the system, email in scholarships@gov.ky. That is our general email. So that goes literally to every single person in the unit has access to that. So we're able to see that. And then we will respond to you and try and find out what's going on. Or you can call the main line, which is 244-2482. And if the person that answers can't answer your question, we know who to direct it to.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, I want you to speak to some of the common issues that you're finding in those incomplete applications that you have as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record with Dr. Shara Smith talking about scholarships in the Cayman Islands, education scholarships. We'll return after the short commercial break.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
James Heber Arch, 1868-1943.
Pastor James Arch, the husband of Virginia F. Arch and the father of 11 children, was converted in 1905 during revival services held by Elder Richard Russell in Georgetown. He was a founder of the Church of God Full Gospel Hall and donated the property for the original church building, which he built in Arches Square, which is still standing. He became an elder in 1908 and in 1925 was ordained a pastor, a position he held until his death. In 1942, he secured the waterfront property in Georgetown, where the present church building now stands. Mr. Arch was an outstanding shipwright who passed on his talents to his 6 sons. His shipyard built many of the famous schooners of his day. He was known for his generosity and kindness.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Shara Smith. We're talking about the scholarships program, the applications, the date lines. We know that here in the Cayman Islands, like other places as well, persons have a tendency to procrastinate as well. So we're trying to combat that tendency to procrastinate and to encourage everyone to get the ball rolling as early as possible. So Dr. Shari, can you identify some of the challenges that you have in terms of the applications and what they may be missing?
So I think some of the things that kind of hold some of the students back may be, well, obviously, the financial information, which is very limited now. I mean, before they had to submit a whole, series of documents, but, parents just being able to get a copy of their job letter and signing that means form. So sometimes the job letters is a bit holding up. They do have to prove that they are Caymanian, and depending on where they fall. So if nowadays I think everybody has to get that document for proof, right? So some may be waiting to get the letter of confirmation as a Caymanian back from the immigration, or they're not called immigration anymore, from work, right? But what we advise persons is that, again, if you have a question, call in, because there are alternatives that we can suggest depending on your circumstances that will allow you to complete that section of the application form. And then obviously before the whole process is final and your scholarship is actually finally approved, then we would need verification of or confirmation of the actual documentation. So, that may be something that they're hesitant or, holding them back. Again, contact us so that we can, help you figure out what your options are. Some students may not be sure where they want to go, which is fine, right? Again, having a general idea of for example, if a student might want to go to UK and they might want to go to the US and they're not too sure, then pick one of the two that you're interested in. You still have some time, obviously, because you haven't gotten your final acceptance and so forth. But part of this process is not just for us to be like, okay, we need to give you X amount of dollars. But really the crux of this process is to prepare the applicant and their family or their guardians for what is it that they're going to have to be managing coming down the road, right? So really, if I am interested in, I want to become, I've always had this dream of becoming a doctor, right? But the student has kind of this glamorous image of the doctor, right? The process of looking at the universities, going and looking at your degree plan, which is something that you have to submit, right? So every university on their website will have their various degrees, and then once you click on that, it usually breaks it down to the classes that you have to take over the period of the 3 to 4 years. When you look at that and you see that you have to take Chem 1, Chem 2, Chem 3, you have to take biomechanics 4, 5, and 6, you may start to have some, I don't know, because if my sciences aren't really that good, maybe that's not something that I may be geared towards too, right? But you still want to be in that medical field. And by exploring that university and the programs that they're offering, you may see something else that interests your mind that still allows you to go into that field, but may not necessarily, require all of the challenging subject areas that you may feel that you may have difficulty.
Any assistance that they can receive from former students of these institutions, and do we have any rapport with graduates that can help them in terms of advice?
Well, if they know other persons who are in university, which I'm quite sure they do, I think that's a great time for them to have a conversation. The Secretariat, we do try to, and that's one of our next tasks is, we have a running record of students who are out at universities and so forth. And so if we find that a particular individual and that is applying reaches out and says, I'm really struggling, is there any way that anybody else is going to this school? We will try our best to kind of connect those individuals. Before COVID came into our life, one of the plans that was on the table is to create those kind of networking opportunities. Yes. Unfortunately, COVID has kind of threw things in a curve, so we're having to rework all of that. But definitely, if you have those kind of questions, contact us and we will try and link you up with someone if there's someone attending that university. But you'll also find that reaching out to the university directly, especially if you're an international student, to their international advisors, they're quite helpful and they will give you information and so forth. Also like research, the area that university's in and see, is this a small town location or is this in a huge city location? Now, because again of COVID, a lot of universities have virtual tours because persons can't actually go until they get there, right? And so doing the virtual tour and kind of getting an idea of what it's like to be on that campus. So I think there's definitely resources out there for students who may have questions or even parents because, your baby's about to leave the nest and you start to get, like, oh no, I need to make sure they're super protected.
Parents, they take it harder than the student.
Right? Trust me, I understand. But, I have to say that our current students who are overseas, and especially those who started university either in 2019 and got hit COVID hit them in the middle of their university experience just as they were finding their feet, that we are so very proud of them because they have navigated this incredibly. They have gone from, face-to-face classes to fully online. Some of them are in very practical based courses and they've had to learn how to, rehab injuries and do dental fillings, via, it's a bit concerning. I'm hoping they'll get practical if you're doing fillings at some point, right? Yes. But they've had to really adjust how they learn. And they have done, we've seen those who have struggled and we've provided as much support as we can and encouraged them to seek out support. And that's the, one other thing we encourage, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? We're all navigating this thing. Every day it's a new challenge. And there are resources there for the purpose to help you. So if you're off at university, and you're struggling and you're having any kind of difficulties, reach out to the Secretariat. Let us know what's going on so that we can provide what sort of support we can, but then also tap into the resources around you. And for students who are currently, thinking about applying for scholarship, asking questions in terms of how am I going to feel when my school goes into full lockdown? Am I going to be able to manage that? If an individual has any kind of underlying mental health issues or any kind of learning challenges, is that university going to provide them with the support that they need? And do they provide that if they go fully online? Because that's really a huge challenge, especially for our students who have those different learning difficulties, right? So those are also things that people want to be looking at and researching. And it's just, getting the application in and the process started. Like I said, we don't expect to have final answers at this point in time. But if you don't get it in now, then you're going to have to wait a whole nother year before you can start up the process.
Yes. Okay, folks, top of the hour, we're going to go to our 8 o'clock news. When we return from the news, the conversation with Dr. Shara Smith will continue. So please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
New year,
new deals at Price Right.
Keep your New Year's goals in check with ProForm push-up stands, just $12.99, save $4. Or if DIY is more your thing, we have the little giant mega light ladder for $209.99, save $70.
And if you're feeling musical, we've got the Casio 61 key portable keyboard for $139.99, save $45. Cayman, it's time to live better for less at Priced Right.
Price is good until January 19th, 2022. Find more deals at pricedright.ky.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Public health officials say COVID-19 vaccination will soon be available for children who are vulnerable. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
The UK Health Security Agency, previously known as Public Health England, has given approval for Cayman's Public Health Department to administer the COVID-19 vaccine to vulnerable high-risk children between 5 and 11 years old. These vaccines won't be given at the normal COVID vaccination clinic because Public Health will be organizing specific childhood immunization clinics over the next few weeks. The public will be advised once the clinic dates and locations are confirmed. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez says the vaccines need to be administered by public health nurses who specialize in children because the dosage and inoculation for children differs than that for adults. A doctor's letter in support of their patient receiving the vaccine will be required. Vulnerable or high-risk children between the ages of 5 and 11 and those in the same age group living with vulnerable or immunocompromised individuals will qualify. This includes children between 5 and 11 who have chronic respiratory disease, chronic heart conditions, chronic conditions of the kidney, liver, or digestive system, and chronic neurological diseases such as Down syndrome. It also includes people with immunosuppression issues, asplenia or dysfunction of the spleen, and serious genetic abnormalities that affect a number of systems. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
The report follow-up on past PAC recommendations 2022 Report 1 was issued on Friday by the Office of the Auditor General. It provides an update on the government's progress with implementing recommendations made by the Public Accounts Committee of the Parliament for 3 reports. The reports cover the government's use of consultants and temporary staff, the government's use of outsourced services, and fighting corruption in the Cayman Islands. The PAC and OAG had made a total of 61 recommendations in these reports. The Auditor General, Sue Winspear, says government has made good progress in implementing the recommendations in the reports relating to government's use of consultants, temporary staff, and outsourced services, along with fighting corruption. Overall, 76% of the 61 recommendations have been implemented or in the progress of being implemented. But Sue Winspear adds some recommendations are yet to be addressed. For example, there remains the situation where the tender limits given in the Procurement Act regulations are different from those in the financial regulations made under the Public Management and Finance Law. Ms. Winspear says it is also not clear if government has actually started to centrally monitor and report its expenditure on consultants or outsourced services. This is, quote, essential for decision-making. The report also shows that by December 31st, the government had not responded to 7 PAC reports. This report and the original OAG reports are found online at auditorgeneral.gov.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. The World Economic Forum has opened in the Swiss resort of Davos with a speech by the Chinese President Xi Jinping, in which he warned that global confrontation could have catastrophic consequences. Mr. Xi said history had proven that confrontation did not solve problems. He called for greater economic policy coordination to prevent further deterioration of the world economy. The UAE says that 3 people have been killed and 6 others wounded by an explosion of fuel tankers in Abu Dhabi, which police say may have involved drones. It comes as the Houthi movement in Yemen said it had carried out an attack on the UAE, which has played a key role in the Saudi-led coalition fighting the rebel movement. The former president of Ukraine, Petro Poroshenko, has appeared in court in Kiev to face allegations of high treason, having returned to the country from Poland. He denies allegations that he collaborated with what investigators call terrorists in the purchase of coal from territory controlled by Russian-backed separatist rebels during his time in power. International efforts to deliver aid to tsunami-hit islands in Tonga have been gathering pace as further information comes in from damage assessment teams sent by Australia and New Zealand. There's been significant damage to several islands, but no mass casualties have been reported. There's a standoff between Israeli police and members of a Palestinian family who are facing eviction from their home in the Sheikh Jarrah district of occupied East Jerusalem. The Jerusalem municipality has expropriated the land on which the house was built in order to construct a school. And that's the latest BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Pan American Life Insurance Group can help you take your employee benefit solution to the next level. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we've always delivered on our promise. PALIG is the only insurer providing group policies to as few as 3 employees and has the ability to combine life, health, disability, and income protection to provide you and your employees with a complete employee benefits package. Let us customize your employee benefits solution today. Call us at 949-8304 or visit our office at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Hey, pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 74 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. The barometric pressure is 29.99 inches and rising. The wind is out of the north at 5 knots. Overnight low temperature was 71 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a cold front moving over the northwest Caribbean. Moderate north to northwest winds and seas with some swells expected to impact the northern and western coast as the front moves across the Cayman area today. Satellite images show mid-level clouds over the northwest Caribbean moving towards the east. Now the forecast for today, calling for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of early morning showers and possible afternoon thunder, and temperatures today will be in the upper 70s. Winds will be north to northwest at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and seas will be moderate to rough with wave heights of 4 to 6 feet. Swells are expected to impact the northern and western coast, as we mentioned. Small craft should exercise caution over open water. Tonight, cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and temperatures dipping to the upper 60s tonight. Winds will be north to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. High tide will be this morning at 6 minutes past 10, low tide this afternoon at 6 minutes after 4, and a high tide again tonight at 11 minutes past 9. The sun will set this evening at 8 minutes after 6 and will rise tomorrow morning at 3 minutes past 7. And the outlook is calling for a decrease in cloudiness by Tuesday morning, with winds veering to the northeast by Wednesday morning. That's the very latest on your weather report.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
We at Pan American Life Insurance Group are here to help you protect your family and your income. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIC because we have always delivered on our promise. Life insurance is not only about death, but also about living benefits. We'll help you secure the life insurance, accident and sickness disability income you need to protect you and your family. Call us today at 949-8304 or visit our office, Unit 221 Cannon Place East, North Song Road, or visit www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, have a deadline. Procrastination is common in human nature. Setting a time to review the work helps to increase motivation because you know that you have to have it done by a certain time. This also ensures that you slow down to review progress. Consider rewards if things are going well. If things are not going as well as you would like, a deadline gives you a chance to pause and reflect on the current goal to see if there may be something getting in the way of being able to get it done.
Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on our roads. Busy traffic coming from the east on the Linford Pearson Highway and steady traffic further up on Shamrock Road. Traffic busy coming towards Georgetown, coming on Crew Road, and eastbound traffic on Crew Road is moving along moderately. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is moderate. Some roads are wet, so please drive with extra care. In front of the Georgetown Post Office on Edward Street, traffic is moving along pretty good. Light to moderate traffic flow on Owen Roberts Drive. And on Huldah Avenue, traffic steady but flowing. And coming from the Westway 4-way stop, traffic is flowing at a moderate pace. Into Georgetown on Shedden Road, looking pretty good as traffic flowing pretty good. And out of Georgetown on Shedden Road, moderate flow of traffic. On the Westway Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and drive safe.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert available for a limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch.
Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. This year, a new rule was placed on fishing for grouper that says no one can fish for nass or grouper anywhere in Cayman from December 1st to April 30th while they're spawning. There is also no fishing allowed at all for any kinds of fish in the spawning zones, and no scuba diving there either. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my daddy taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Shari Smith. She's in charge of the scholarships program, and I'm going to read you a release that was issued by the Ministry of Education in relation to scholarship applications. And this was in November of last year. Ministry of Education at that time invited all eligible Caymanians to submit applications for overseas scholarships for the 2022-23 academic year. Period of application opened on the 15th of November, that is of 2021, and it will close, like Dr. Shari has told us, at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, the 31st of January, 2022. Successful applicants will be able to access funding from September, which is the fall in 2022, onwards, which also Dr. Shari told us about. These scholarships provide an excellent opportunity for students who would not have been otherwise able to afford it to pursue further education from accredited overseas institutions. And that is a comment that was made at that time by none other than Dr. Shari Smith as well. Goes on to say that the overseas scholarships for undergraduate students awards a maximum of CI $30,000 per annum for up to 4 years to each successful applicant. In addition, the top male and female undergraduate applicants who have been accepted into approved Ivy League or gold-tiered universities will each receive up to a maximum of CI $100,000 per annum through this scholarship award as well. And there's more to this, but Dr. Smith is covering all of that here during the interview, so I won't read any more on that. What I will read, though, is one of our listeners has written in and says, could you please ask Dr. Shari whether the Scholarship Secretariat tracks the graduation dates of Caymanian scholarship recipients while they are away at school to enable their job placement when they return home. Also, so that's one part of it, Dr. Shari. Mm-hmm. Another part also, does the Secretariat communicate and coordinate with work to ensure that work permit conditions are tied with the upcoming Caymanian talent pool? So there's your assignment.
Hey, so those actually are two questions that they're constantly coming across my desk. But as a secretariat, as a part of the application process, obviously, the student will need to indicate when their graduation date is. In terms of dates, we don't do specific dates, but we have an idea who would be graduating, say at the end of spring this year, spring 2022, or if we have people who are going to be graduating or who are on track, let's say that, who are on track to graduate in December 2022. So what usually will happen is, obviously as we are seeing, we are in continual communication with our students. They're submitting, their submissions for their termly disbursements. We will ask them to confirm if they're on track for graduation. Some of them, for various reasons, obviously, again, good old COVID, has pushed dates back, but we do generally get information back on when their expected dates are. We do work with the Deputy Governor's Office and the Office of the Premier as well, and with work in communications with work as well, in terms of giving them an idea of the subject areas we're expected to be complete or returning to Cayman. And so we may, we'll see, you have 10 persons completing their undergraduate in finance that are expected to be coming back. And that's the limit that we go to at this point in time. I know that we are still in terms of developing, work is still in the process of trying to figure out how to tap into those resources. And we also encourage our students to connect with work if they need to. I mean, I think the other thing that we need to remember is that not everybody that's studying overseas is actually on a government scholarship, right? So we want to make sure that we reach those individuals too, so that we do know. But a huge part of it, and this is probably one of the biggest challenges that we have. For whatever reason, we have a substantial number of students who have completed or are in the process of completing their qualifications, and we've reached out to get them to confirm, and it's like crickets, right? When students are approved a scholarship, they are bonded to return to Cayman, and they have basically up until a year after their graduation date to return to Cayman, because we know that sometimes they have opportunities for work experience and so forth. If those kind of situations come up, then what is required is for them to communicate with us and say, hey, they have to write to council asking for permission to defer their return so that they can pursue this opportunity for getting further experience and so forth, right? But I think there is more. The issue is more than just knowing who's coming back, right? The issue is also, are we prepared to take these young people back in the field that they have invested time and energy and studies in, to employ them in that field? And I give you an example. I've just completed my qualifications as a clinical psychologist, right? And I've been lucky that I have a full-time employment job that takes care of my daily needs while I was studying to complete my doctorate, right? So at some point in time, I would be awesome to go into private practice, right? We probably right now have between 15 to 20 young persons who are currently studying clinical psychology or some level of psychology. So we would expect within the next probably 2 to 3 years that those individuals are expected to return to Cayman to get employment. Now the government is you're no longer bonded to work for the government like it was back in my day, right? So you have to come home and you have to navigate trying to find work, all right? As a psychologist, you have to get licensed by the licensing board in Cayman, which means that we need to make sure that our students overseas are meeting the criteria to get licensed overseas first before they can come home and get licensed in Cayman. That's a whole nother argument that I have there with the law. Anyway.
We'll have another show for that.
Right? But then the law also states, as a Caymanian, you're not required to have a health facility license. But in order for you to practice and see clients as a psychologist, you have to be either working in a health facility or have a health facility license. No, that's a whole nother set of applications fees. Currently, we have the hospital. We have Health City, which right now I don't think has a clinical behavioral area. And then we have a lot of private practices, right? If they do education psychology, then obviously the Department of Education Services is an area that employs educational psychologists, right? The hospital is limited in the number of clinical staff that they have. And so my question, and this is to the community, because we need to start the forward thinking, right? Because, the question is always, what is the Secretariat doing? What are we as a community and a country doing to prepare to bring these young people back, right? If the law requires them to work in a health facility, most likely you fresh out of university, you are not going to have the finances to start up your own private practice, right? So you are going to be looking to be employed by one of these health entities. If they're not hiring and they are limiting the number of individuals that they have at that facility, what is going to happen to that pool of young people?
Yeah.
Is it fair for them to come back and not work in the field in which they've invested, but then we're penalizing them if they don't come back, right? So it's a bigger and broader question that I think we need a lot more people around the table to have that discussion. We need our students to really get back to us and respond to the surveys that we send out saying, hey, when are you finished? Are you working in the field? Because then that helps us collect the kind of data that allows us to have the conversations with work and have the conversations with the deputy governor and the premier in terms of how do we prepare for our students returning and ensure that they have opportunities to give back to their community in the field that they have studied in.
Yeah, and I know you as a civil servant, not much you can say about this, but only yesterday I was reading in the one of the Bermudan newspapers online again, where they have extended the job categories where they will not issue work permits in those categories because there are Bermudans available, willing and available to fill those positions. So when you mention a number of persons who are in the psychology field, either as clinical psychologists or otherwise, this is where the policy decisions that our politicians have to make need to be looked at as well.
Exactly.
One other question that I had for you.
Sure.
We know that, for instance, when work permits are issued, business staffing plans and other companies may be required to provide scholarships, sometimes up to the tune of $20,000 per year. Now, do they administer those scholarships separately, or do they come through the scholarships program as well to say, well, do you have any viable candidates that we may be offered willing to offer scholarships to?
They don't come through us. There is, I guess there's a brochure that's put out for private companies to advertise scholarships that they may be offering for students to pursue various degrees. And that is, I think it's online as well. There was a booklet that was produced, and I think it's being produced again this year.
Okay.
And so companies that are doing those kind of scholarships, they manage their own scholarship funding. What we obviously ask for, especially is that any of our students who have been awarded, what they need to do is they need to identify in the awarding letter, it identifies what that scholarship will cover.
Okay.
And then that allows us to really become a top up to that scholarship. So some companies are very, very particular in what they will cover. They will cover all of the tuition and the accommodations, but they're not giving funding for, say, travel and books. So if the student is eligible for a government scholarship, then we would cover that component of it, right? But they have to declare it. And, it's always interesting because we from day one, we tell them, you may not know, but as soon as you know, you need to let us know, because obviously, it's one bucket of money, and the more that we are able to we want to be spending it wisely and smarter. Yes. Then the more that we are able to help others who really do not have the means to be able to access those additional scholarship funds, right? And we'll get Cayman's a small place, and our young people love to live on social media, and everything's put in the media. So eventually an ad comes out and there's like a list of young people have been awarded these scholarships, and I just kind of look at it and I go, okay, mine. And I'm like, have we received? And then we reach out to them and say, hey, you remember, on that form, you have to declare that scholarship. Yes. We need to have a conversation, because, your scholarship funds are not to be used to go and buy you a nice pretty car and a nice expensive apartment when you're
so you think then that there's that possibility, or there should be closer coordination between what the private sector is required to do and what they do with the scholarship secretariat as well?
Yes, and I'm careful because I have very limited resources.
Even if it just means providing the information to you.
And they have, and I must say they have. I mean, if we have any issues, that we reach out to them and they will, give us the information. So I think we have a really good working relationship with them. I think where we need to see it is more in the government entities of us making sure that the information is collected. Mm-hmm. You talked about being bonded, or Bermuda saying there's certain areas of career areas that they have blocked off. Mm-hmm. My background initially is a teacher. When I went to university, I was bonded back to Cayman to work in our education services. I personally feel that anyone going on a teaching scholarship should be bonded back to working in our government public school system, right? Because we need Caymanian teachers in our public school system. And so incentives like that will say, okay, not only are we funding your education, but we're also going to give you an opportunity to have a job when you come back, so that you can give back, but also develop yourself as a professional in that field, Okay.
So, Dr. Shar, before you go, I want you to remind our listeners of the important dates and any important bit of information that you want to leave with them as well.
Sure. So I just want to remind the public and all of our applicants, whether undergrad or postgrad, that the deadline is January the 31st. In which it will be closing. The application will be closing off. We are not able to extend it just to, because of the mere fact of the amount of work that has to go into after things have been closed off. And so please, get your applications in. We will be the system sends out reminders. If you have any questions, please email scholarships@gov.ky or call our main line, which is 244-2482. Don't wait till the last minute and the last day to call and ask a question. Ask it now. There's no question that is silly. It's better to ask and get the response than miss a great opportunity that is being provided to our young people and older people as well.
Okay.
No limit.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sharon. If you need to be back on before the 31st, we will find space for you because this is extremely important as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly. When we return, we hope to have someone from either the Cabinet Office or the Protocol Office to talk about Heroes Day 2022 in the Cayman Islands. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation. System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I have been advised that Mr. Dalkeith Whitaker is celebrating a birthday today. So one of our listeners would like to wish him a happy birthday. Also, that individual's church persons of hers, of that individual, I shouldn't say her, I'm not sure if it's a he or she, Michael Henry and Nisha Miller celebrating birthday as well. And that's coming, yes, I know who it is now. It's coming from Jewel. So Jewel wants to wish Dalkeith Whitaker happy birthday. Also Michael Henry and Nisha Miller as well. Miss Susan, you ready for me over on the phone? Okay, we do have the Chief of Protocol, Ms. Melanie Sims, on the line. Miss Mel, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Happy New Year to you. Nothing, Miss Susan. Okay. So meanwhile, until we get that link sorted out, I want to share with you the COVID-19 update that we received. The latest one that was received on Friday, the 14th of January. And as you know, the authorities have now gone to the a new reporting system. But this one was issued for Friday, the 14th of January 2022. And it started out pointing out that a 15th person had passed away from COVID-19 related causes. That was announced on Friday. And then Chief Medical Officer Interim Dr. Ottilia Newton also reported 488 new positive PCR tests for COVID-19, while the number of confirmed cases of the Omicron variant in the Cayman Islands remains at 132. The number of probable Omicron cases reached 2,427 during the reporting period. 8 COVID-19 patients were hospitalized in the Cayman Islands as of midnight on Friday, the 13th of January. 1 new inpatient was also included in that number as well. And it also said that meanwhile, 13 new cases of COVID were reported in the sister island. So that's the COVID-19 update. We also have one about the fact that the COVID-19 vaccine for vulnerable children will soon be available. I will share that with you later. Let's see if we have that phone link now with Ms. Melanie Sims, Chief of Protocol in the Cayman Islands. Ms. Mel, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Happy New Year to you.
Good morning. Let's try this again.
Yes, hearing you loud and clear now.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Islands. Happy New Year. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Just happy to be here to talk about National Heroes Day. As we know, every year it takes place on the fourth Monday of January, and everyone's wondering why have they not heard anything and what's going on. It's
Right.
yes, so it's important for us to at least give an update as possible.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I am. Yes, hearing you fine. Loud and clear.
Yes, so National Heroes Day celebrations in the Cayman Islands is our day to recognize our national heroes, our nation builders, and as well as those who've made an outstanding contribution to the Cayman Islands and our Caymanian society. This year, our theme, our focus is celebrating and honoring our uniformed services. And, of course, the plan for this year is to look at a scaled-down version due to COVID-19 in our community. And the uniformed services, we have about approximately 500 uniformed services personnel who have been selected from public nominations. We spoke about it earlier last year, talking about going into the community for nominations, and we heard from our community. We heard from our committee members who are also part of the uniformed services, and we've come to about 500, approximately, maybe a little over 500, of uniformed services personnel taken from specific group areas such as the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force, the Prison Service, the Service, the Cadet Corps, the Cayman Islands Regiment, the Cayman Islands Coast Guard, and the Combined Services of Immigration and Customs, which is CBC.
Okay, we're losing you, Miss Mel. We're not hearing you now.
I took a break.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
So essentially, this recognition has to, of course, make sure that we're doing things the right way and that we are moving forward with the necessary approvals where we are talking about our community, our frontline services folks that I've just mentioned to you, where the COVID-19 protocol dictates. So we have a maximum number of gatherings for the regulations of 250 people outdoors and 100 people indoors.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought it best to break it down like we did the last time, based upon our districts, where we would recognize those uniformed personnel coming from those particular districts, when we can meet with them and give them their recognition, their due honor.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, we are moving ahead with our plans for Hero Square recognition on Monday. For Monday, and it will be crucial to the items that focus around the Hero Square segment of the ceremony normally.
Okay.
Which is the wreath laying and recognition of our nation builders,
Mm-hmm.
as well as last time we recognized the newest and latest national hero, the Honorable Layla Rothshire, who wrote our national song, Beloved I Man. And so we'll be unveiling her bust at that time.
Okay.
Yes. So we're limiting our ceremony to just those items that focus around Hero Square on Monday, which is next week Monday, which is the public holiday, of course. But so it will be a private ceremony by invitation only.
Okay.
Keeping our numbers small, keeping our numbers minimal, adhering to the protocol set by COVID-19, which is social distancing, wearing our masks, and sanitizing, mindful of our limitations in the public.
Okay.
And there will be a parade, and I will speak to that parade. But what was your question?
No, I was going to ask you, and I'm sure that you will cover it at some point in time. What will take place in the sister islands in the Bratton as well?
Okay.
Yeah. But go ahead. Talking about the parade.
Right. So the parade will be made up of it will be a scaled-down version of what we've always done. Hero Square is pretty space limited on its own. And so the recipients, or those being honored, not the recipients, excuse me, the honored uniformed services will make up a uniformed multi-agency grouping to limit our numbers on parade. Because usually each entity, each contingent is made up of about 20 persons.
Right.
And we're talking about 200 of them on parade. And we cannot have that many. Of course, we're limited by 250. So we have scaled it down to just 4 representatives per entity making up one parade. And for the first time, we will have CVC on parade, Mr. Connor. CVC will be represented on parade. So
excellent.
Absolutely. But the uniform, those are the senior uniform groups.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll move to the junior uniform groups, such as the Cadet Corps, the Boys Brigade, the Boy Scouts, the Girls Brigade, and the Cayman Pathfinders. They will have their usual entities on parade. But for the senior groups, it will be one combined group made up of the Coast Guard and the regiment joining the usual grouping of the police force, the fire, and prison. So we expect to see a wonderful display of pomp and circumstance.
Okay.
So that will just really focus, our day will focus around 2 hours of time to pay honor and respect to our heroes at National Hero Square. So we will lay wreaths in their honor, and we will also unveil the bust of the newest national hero. And that will be all for that day.
Okay. And for those persons who are not invited, how will they be able to follow the proceedings?
We will have it live streamed.
Uh-huh.
The GIS media team, as always on point with us and working so hard behind the scenes to set everything in place. And so we will have it live streamed. We'll have our on-air talent. Maybe Miss Susan will be there as usual to give us the commentary from Radio Cayman's perspective, providing the live broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
But for video, we will have it live streamed on the government channels and the YouTube, the GIS YouTube networks and channels. I think also on Logic as well. Now, you mentioned the Sister Islands.
Yes.
For sure. The Sister Islands would be the districts that I spoke to earlier. And we would recognize the Sister Islands, we would recognize the Eastern Districts, and we would recognize the Western District. So the Western Districts is Georgetown and West Bay is one day, one time, one grouping.
Mm-hmm.
Because our numbers, again, we have to limit those numbers based upon our 250 max, and we're trying our best to keep way below that number. And again, we have to recognize all 500 of our recipients. So we're trying to strategically do this in the same honor that we would do National Heroes Day in one day, but instead to split it out over the course of a few days. So those plans, Mr. Connor, and our listening public and viewing public, it is tentative right now as to when we will do that.
Okay.
It is tentative when we will go out to the Eastern Districts or the Western District and or the Sister Islands as well. Or we do it at one time or maybe virtually. We have yet to come to a final conclusion, but most of our recipients, most of those of you who will be honored, have been contacted by telephone, by the protocol office. Our volunteers have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to get connections with you. If you haven't heard from us just as yet, we're going to be in touch with you shortly just to advise who has been nominated, because just because you've been nominated, we have to also vet it through the committee to ensure that they are in the criteria of the nomination guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Recognize you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else that you want to cover before you go, Miss Mel?
Just to say that we're hoping for a bright and sunny day on Monday for National Heroes Day. We start at 9 o'clock, and we just want to encourage you. If you have not been invited, please know that you can watch it or listen. You can watch it or listen to the proceedings, and we'll also have a recording of it to watch in perpetuity, either online or on TV, and we'll cover that. But Heroes Day has been scaled down. It is the people's celebration of our National Day, National Heroes, every year, fourth Monday in January.
Mm-hmm.
But because of COVID-19 in the community and its cousins, we have to be mindful of community spread and social distancing and safety and health for our community at the end of the day. So we're taking our necessary precautions. It's not necessarily the most popular decision, but until we have a better idea we're proceeding with our Monday plans, and then we'll be out in touch to the recipients as to when they will get their honor and their commemorative insignia or their commemorative certificate for the service and for the time that we are paying them respect for serving the Cayman Islands through service as well.
Okay. Now, Ms. Mel, those beautiful snacks, finger foods that you normally have out there, since we won't be able to get those, can I have mine delivered to my house for me?
Yeah, National Heroes Day is all about giving back to our people.
Yes.
And we usually provide the traditional Caymanian fare, whether it's seafood, which is our traditional fare, or whether it's the cassava cake or the coconut, whatever, and the swanky. Let's not forget the swanky.
Yes.
So, no, we have to scale it back to that as well, too. And if we do the giveaways, it will be limited. Of course, last time, along with our commemorative posters, which we always produce and provide, we would also give you something to leave with on a memorable note. But we're trying our best to make sure that it's in line with all of our necessary precautions.
Okay. Ms. Mel, I want to thank you very much, and the Cabinet Office and the Protocol Office for the great job that you guys do, considering the challenges and having, to shift gears while, going at full speed ahead. And we want to thank you very much for all the work that you and your office do as well.
Thank you so much, Connor. It's definitely, as I always say, teamwork makes the dream work. Teamwork makes the dream work. And we have so many hands on deck, so many souls and minds working behind the scenes feverishly and tirelessly. And I want to thank each and every one of you, the committee, from the nominations committee, the Ministry of Culture, Chief Officer Tamiki, my own Chief Officer, Cabinet Secretary, Sama Rhodes. We have all been behind the scenes pulling this all together. The GIS team, they've been amazing. My protocol team, amazing. Our volunteers, thank you so much for having me on, Mr. Connor. We'll be back in touch with you to keep you posted.
Definitely. You take care now, Ms. Mel. Folks, we have to take a commercial break. When we return, conversation will continue. We will have open line for you as well. Of course, we went through a commercial break, so we'll do a commercial break now, but then we will come right back after that to do our headline news as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Ms. Susan, do we have that caller back yet? Okay. You would have heard earlier in the show the discussion that I had with Dr. Shara Smith from the Scholarships Secretariat. And one of our listeners commented and sort of like expanded on one of the questions that I asked Dr. Smith in relation to the scholarships offered by the private sector. Some of them are mandated to offer annual scholarships, usually somewhere in the tune of about $20,000. And so this person has written and wanted to know why doesn't the government liaise with the private sector to avoid duplications of scholarships. They go on to say that the island is so small, this should not be hard to do. And of course, the Dr. Smith did point out that they are in communications with the private sector. They do get information from them, but maybe that coordination is not as, and I'm saying this, not as robust possible as it should be. One of the observations that I had that I didn't get to share with Dr. Smith also was the fact that we see some entities in Cayman offering scholarships, and we wonder whether or not that then the fact that they have been given a scholarship, let's say by a banking or a financial institution, whether or not that helps to put them on track for future employment with that company. We know that some companies do offer summer jobs to those individuals as well. And that may be one area where you find that at least some private sector entities are much more progressive than government is in that regard, as well. People are still complaining about the number of non-Caymanians employed in government departments, especially in areas of, the finance departments. When I say finance, I don't mean the finance department itself, but the various finance sectors in various ministries and portfolios, the number of non-Caymanians employed there as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Associate.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Okay, Happy New Year to you and your family.
Thank you very much, and the same to you, sir.
A question which is sort of personal, so you don't have to answer it if you don't care to.
That's okay.
Did you have a sister attending Cayman High School?
Yes, Anis, you're talking about behind the library?
Yes, I was going to call her name.
Anis Smith. Oh, yeah. We're extremely proud of her, so I don't mind calling her name.
To be. Yeah. Well, I think you know who you're talking about. So you please give her my kind regards because I remember her specifically from school, and she was a great girl. So see, I'm not going to talk anything about COVID because you hear enough about that, but I have something that I think is exciting.
Okay.
And you may have heard it. Scientists have developed something that kills mosquitoes, and I think it targets probably the Anopheles, and I didn't really get that. I'm injecting that, but, we don't realize that in Africa, thousands of people are killed each year by malaria.
Yes.
So this news is great news. You're talking to one who nearly died from malaria in 1944.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and I was really, really thrilled to hear that news about whatever they developed. So thank you very much for all that you do and what you send out in Radio Land, and God bless you, and bye.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I'll do some research on that and see what I can find and share that with my audience as well. But if you have a link to it, you can send it to me. Send it to us at For the Record, one word, For the Record, at CANDW.KY. I'd like to talk more about that because we had a company here. We know what happened, with that experiment in relation to mosquitoes just a few years ago as well. So rather than us continuing to be guinea pigs for those who are trying to trial their various concoctions and inventions when it comes to the control of mosquitoes, maybe this one is more promising, and I will, like I say, do my research. If not, I will get back to you and ask you to share that with us, that article, so that I can share it with my audience as well. Folks, top of the hour, headline news at 9 o'clock. When we return, the phone lines will continue to remain open. One of our listeners wanted to know about the recent announcement by the Bermudan government to changes to the restricted job categories that are in place in Bermuda as well. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 488 new cases of COVID-19 on Friday and a new death, bringing the total number of lives lost since the start of the pandemic to 15. There are 132 confirmed cases of the Omicron variant. The number of suspected cases have spiked to 2,427. Significant damage has been reported after a tsunami hit the Pacific island nation of Tonga, but communications problems are making it difficult to get a full picture. The volcano erupted on Sunday. The eruption, which was heard as far away as the U.S., caused waves higher than a meter to crash into Tonga. So far, there have been no confirmed reports of injuries or deaths. And a major winter storm has brought heavy snow and ice to parts of the United States and Canada, putting more than 80 million people under weather warnings. More than 145,000 people are without power in some southeastern states, and thousands of flights have been canceled. Virginia, Georgia, and North and South Carolina have all declared states of emergency. The U.S. National Weather Service says more than 1 foot of snow is expected in some areas. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Want to remind you our phone lines are open. Toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. Also 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us at For the Record, one word, For the Record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261 as well. So Bermuda on the today's Royal Gazette newspaper, government announces changes to restricted job categories. And I'm going to just share this with you verbatim. Says bans and restrictions on new work permits in certain categories have been extended to the end of July, the government announced today. Ministry of Labor said that debt collectors, telephone switchboard operators, pool and beach attendants, deckhands, and road transport dispatchers were added to the closed list of jobs. Now, a closed list of jobs means that those are jobs that work permits will not be issued to individuals in Bermuda. Goes on to say a spokesman added that nail technicians and recruiters were moved from the closed to the open list. So they're opening it up for nail technicians and for recruiters as well. Changes will take effect from February the 1st for 6 months, extending the moratorium on new work permits for jobs in the closed list to July the 31st. The list of restricted job categories was revised to include kitchen porters, dish or pot washers, and kitchen assistants. Applications for work permits in the restricted category follow the same process as those in the open category, except that the employers must apply for a maximum term of 1 year. The government's work permit policy added that the employer was also required to submit evidence that any candidates screened and recommended by the Department of Workforce Development were properly considered. And I use that term, properly considered. Now, what do we consider to be properly considered? I'm not sure. They haven't given a description of that, but properly considered, in my estimation, should be more than just the prospective employer giving a list of names of individuals and telling you, well, this one had an appointment, they didn't show up, or this one had a bad reference, unfavorable reference from a previous employer, or whatever. There should be follow-up to these. There should be contact made with the prospective, in this case Bermudan, but if it were the Cayman Islands, follow up with the prospective Caymanian applicant, and that to me would be a part of being properly considered. So the article goes on to say, it says that the Department of Workforce Development is expected to respond to inquiries by employers within 10 working days. Should no response be forthcoming from Department of Workforce Development, the application may be submitted with written evidence that inquiries were made. So here we see in Bermuda, they have the system whereby you are not allowed to actually submit that application until the Department of Workforce Development gives you the all clear, meaning that they are satisfied with the prospective employers having properly considered a Bermudan for the job. And goes on to say that the Labor Ministry spokesman added, the partner of a Bermudan permanent resident certificate holder, non-Bermudan, on a work permit, or other legal residents of Bermuda who has already received permission to reside may now apply to seek employment. So you see, permanent, not only in Cayman, but permanent resident certificate holders in Bermuda also have to apply to seek employment as well. So our system here is not that far-fetched as some people may believe, and those who may now complain about the fact that some residences have been revoked because of non-payment of fees. Article goes on to say that partners who do not have permission to reside may apply to reside and seek employment. And goes on to talk about partner relationships as well. So, again, restriction, there are categories that have been restricted. It is something that was mentioned here in the Cayman Islands before. There are some people who say that there are several categories, and ours may be slightly different. One example I will give you is we see the real estate industry now booming in the Cayman Islands. More condos going up, being built, more condos being built. We see adverts, and we know that real estate companies are extremely busy. We see signs all over the place for sale. I know I had a person tell me a joke once that they were driving a friend around who was from another jurisdiction, and they wanted to know what in the world is happening in the Cayman Islands. It seems as if everything is for sale. Everywhere you turn, there's a for sale sign. Are people leaving the island? What's happening? For sale signs over. So one area that we could look at in terms of a restricted job category could be for real estate agents. Folks, there's money to be made in that area. They won't tell you that there's money to be made, but if you're a friend of a real estate agent who's on a work permit, if they will confide in you, ask them how many pieces of property they may own themselves, how many apartments that they may own. Folks, it is a lucrative industry. But we have to get our heads together. We have to get our figures together. We have to know who's available and who's not available, how many are available, so that we can really effectively police these issues and to ensure that every Caymanian who wants to be employed, has the ability to be employed, is employed as well. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Ossie, and good morning to your esteemed listeners.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Billy Simamba here.
Yes.
You have been hitting some really good topics really since Friday, if not all the time. So
sounds like I'm on a roll for 2022, huh?
Well, I think you started off very well, thought-provoking as usual. So now, the issue of work permits is very, very interesting. And what is happening in Bermuda, expanding the list of categories of people who, for whom work permits won't be given. That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's an area which has been in discussion in Cayman, I think, for quite a long time.
Yes.
But I don't think anybody is listening. I mean, you will know this, of course, having been in immigration, quite apart from everything else. You see, you will know about regulation. I think it is Regulation 6 of the immigration regulations, which says the board or the chief immigration officer may ask an applicant for a work permit to provide a training program for like a succession plan.
Yes.
But it still says may ask. Okay? Now, I don't know how many times that is asked for, but clearly to me, I don't think it works very well. And in any case, I think once you say may, and there's no criteria as to when it may be requested, when it may not be requested. I just wonder why doesn't it say shall? It is not as if you are dealing with a policy issue where sometimes it will be good to ask for it, sometimes it will not be good to ask for it. In my view, it should be asked for in all cases. Okay? And to me, unless that is dealt with, a lot of these other measures which are being put in place have got a very, very limited use, really, at the end of the day. But I've always wondered why that is not changed, and it doesn't have to go to the Legislative Assembly. It is in the
regulations, yes.
One Tuesday, they can do a cabinet paper, a page and a half, and they can have that changed. Why has it been changed? It's very, very interesting. But related to that is something you talked about last Friday with Dr. Steve about work permit fees.
Yes.
Sorry, PR fees. About PR fees. Now, it is very rare I've never heard of it actually in any other country, although it might exist elsewhere, where you have to pay permanent residency fees. However, I have no problem with the rule. I mean, everybody wants to come to Cayman, and the Cayman is free to say,
But the fee is for the right to work. The fee that you pay is for that portion for the right to work, because that annual fee is linked to the particular job category that you have been approved, the permanent residence is approved with.
Yes, but as you know, see, in a lot of other countries, once you get permanent residency, you don't have to pay any extra fees. But that's not the point I'm trying to make, because Cayman is free to make the rules that it wants to make. So I have no problem with it saying, well, look, this is for your work permit, you are a permanent resident, but we still want a work permit. No problem there. Cayman is free to make that rule. But where it might operate harshly is in relation to those people who can't get a job. Okay? I know somebody I was trying to help some time back, actually came to Cayman. I came to Cayman initially 2003. He came to Cayman like 2000. And then after about 20 years, he had gotten a package from a local company, and so he now was looking for another job, and he was not able to find another job. And he had a permanent residency. It was revoked eventually. And this is a guy who wanted to stay in Cayman, was already involved with a Caymanian lady. They were creating a blended family. But his residency was revoked. Not because he didn't want to pay the fees, but just he couldn't get a job.
So do you think then? I would have thought that if a request had been made to the residency board to say, I am at this point in time unemployed, I either ask for the waiver of fees or for the permanent residency to continue until the person is re-employed. Do you know whether or not any attempt was made in that area?
Oh, I know that because I tried to help him over a long period of time. He tried everything, you know, he tried everything, and they still said, no, you have to pay, and it was revoked. He was forced to go. He lived in the States for a little bit, and he's back in Cayman now. My suspicion is that probably now they're married with their blended family. Maybe that's why he was able to get back. But you see, what you are saying, you're right, O.C. But then the legislation must be able to provide very clear provisions as to what happens if you can't work.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
At the moment, it doesn't provide for that. Now, I know that can be very difficult to police. You see, in one thing you could do is, for example, you could ask people that if they can't pay, to give reasons why they can't pay. Okay, but you have to allow that in the provisions. In some cases, they even impute income. Like if you are deliberately not working, they can impute income to you, so that in that case they can revoke it. But for somebody who has been diligently looking for a job and is, have level-headed and everything, if a distinction can be made between the two, I think it would help. But otherwise, I have no problem with the rule. The rule has been made. Cayman has got the right to make it. They've got the right to revoke anybody who doesn't pay. But I just think in a few cases, not many cases, it does operate a little harshly. Anyway, next time, I don't know if do you want to hear something about juries, what you said about juries last week?
Yes.
Very, very, very brief.
Sure.
Juries in a lot of countries, that system is coming under pressure. The jury system in the court system. And the problem about the jury system is that, you see, when you go to law, what you want to do to court, you want as much as possible that the law is applied. Get the emotion out of it. Apply the law. What juries do is that they infuse a lot of emotion into proceedings.
Yes.
So you'll find cases, for example, like the Trayvon Martin case. Can you imagine that, at least in my own opinion, why should Robert Zimmerman have been acquitted? He was the aggressor in the whole thing, The 911 caller told him, hey, that guy you are seeing, don't follow him. He decided to follow him. And the young man, when he found he was being followed, he calls his girlfriend up and says, I walk fast. I don't want to run because if I run, it's going to be a problem. So he was still trying to get away. And yet when they confronted each other, the guy lost the fight and now shoots him.
Yes.
And the jury said, oh, yeah, you saw it. The jury said, oh, no. This guy was defending himself. It's because you are the jury. A lawyer in that case would have been, rather a judge, would have been unlike to acquit, and if they acquitted, they would have been criticized because they would have taken personal responsibility for doing something which is totally wrong. I had to learn what manslaughter and murder has to be as a lawyer. Get it wrong, get it right. How do you expect lay people sometimes to make those judgments? So that's why in a lot of countries now, they have tried to discourage the jury system. Let me close on one joke which a judge one time made in England. He was sitting in court, and the lawyer was going on, like being very emotional and trying to appeal to how the emotion of the case. And then the judge said, "Court-martial, can you put on the light in the jury box? Let the lawyer know that there's no jury in this court." Okay? If you want to argue with me on the law.
Law, yes.
But no effective. Well,
I like that one, Billy. I like that.
Thanks very much, Rosie. You have a good rest of the show.
You too. Take care now. Okay, folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It's okay not to be okay. There's a lot to deal with right now. You may be feeling a bit scared, worried, or anxious. If you're feeling unable to cope or just want to talk to someone, please call the Mental Health Helpline at 1-800-534-6463, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Caring professionals are there to listen. For more information on COVID-19 and managing anxiety, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller on hold. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. How are you?
I am very grateful. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good. Mr. Connor, please accept my apology in advance because I did not catch the show from the very beginning. So in case you passed the stage already, please forgive me. But I was just trying to catch up on changes and new, reports and so on and so. But I'm understanding that effective tomorrow, they're going to be charging for the testing. We're talking about the virus now. And they've already set a price for the LFTs and then a price for the PCR. And I don't know if any careful consideration was given to this. And this is not just for traveling. This is just, if I felt that I need to get a test because of symptoms, then I'm going to be charged. So I was wondering how much consideration was put into that, because clearly, they're having enough problems with people coming forward now who are doing their testing positive and not reporting it. Now what you're actually doing, if you don't realize it, you're discouraging people from even voluntarily going to get tested because they don't want to pay already, just to travel. So where are they going to want to pay? And they're staying on the island. And in my opinion, this is going to increase the spreading of this virus.
No doubt about that. I'm trying to say, do you recall when that announcement was made? I have to go back and find the releases.
It was made, what's doctor's, give me a minute, there. I think it was made on Friday, and it was playing today. I actually saw it on social media. And I don't want to quote the wrong thing, saying it on air here.
That's okay. I'll search for it, and afterwards I'll definitely search for it. But that is unfortunate.
Yes, and then what I'm understanding is that HSC is charging one price, Doctors Hospital is charging another price, and obviously everybody will charge their own price to do so. For the sake of your listeners also, they made an announcement about changes to the purpose of the testing at South Sound. So I know that was an exit testing center before, or I believe. I mean, I don't know if you could just normally go there and do testing, but it seems like that based on the announcement, that it's for people who have a positive LFC, and then they want to follow up with a PCR. I don't know if it is still for the purpose of exit testing.
Okay, and that's the one that has they've extended from 1 hour to 2 hours at the South Sound Community Center.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. They mentioned that too, that the hours had been extended. But I just, all of this is very concerning, and I am not here to criticize anyone, but I do believe that these things, before they're implemented overnight, they could be sort of getting some feedback from the public based on our experiences and so on, because I see this now manifesting into a bigger problem than we already have, and especially when there are no other mandates, to say, okay, you need to be vaccinated or you don't go to work, sort of thing. So we already have positive people who are out there because they cannot be bothered. They don't want to stay home from work. They don't feel sick. So they're going out there. They're in the supermarkets. They're in the banks. They're everywhere. And now you're going to charge people to get tested?
Mm-hmm. Well, I see.
Concerned people?
I see a release here that came out on the 14th, which would have been Friday. Voluntary COVID-19 testing at private facilities no longer free.
Okay.
So it's looks like it's only private facilities, but I will if you bear with me, let me read it while I have you on air. It says Cabinet has today directed that providers of COVID-19 testing may require payment from individuals and businesses engaging in voluntary testing only where the Public Health Department has required that testing takes place, such as isolation/quarantine, exit testing, or PCR confirmation of a positive lateral flow test, will the costs be borne by government. The change will impact all facilities providing testing within the Cayman Islands, including the Health Services Authority facilities, Facilities which currently offer this service include the Health Services Authority, Doctors Hospital, Health City Cayman Islands, and Total Health. Venues offering lateral flow testing are available from the government's coronavirus website. No cost was set for the testing. So this is the headline is misleading because what the text of the release talks about Health Services Authority as well, but the headline says voluntary COVID testing at private facilities no longer free. So it's almost contradictory.
Exactly, and that is the reason I brought it to your attention, because I know that they listen to your show, so perhaps someone might want to call in and clarify it, because I found it very troubling, to be honest.
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And I've also seen comments, because I heard you mention doctors' hospitals included in that whole process as well. And I also saw where someone was complaining that, apparently this person has tested positive with an LFC, was making the appointment to go to doctor's hospitals to be tested. And, this is an online thing. And it was charging them $150. So this is, again, contradictory, because this is a follow-up to a positive lateral flow test, but yet to get the PCR done, they were going to have to pay $150, and you're not going to get past that stage online unless you put in your debit card or your credit card. So if it's to be borne by public health, that needs to be amended, or they set up something completely different, that either you don't go online for that, you go in and they vet you or whatever, however they want to do it, but, I think some more thinking needs to go into the whole thing before they make all of these changes.
And it's highly unlikely that your insurance is likely to cover it as well, too, right?
Well, apparently, if it's for medical purposes, or if, as I'm understanding it, or if you were told or referred by public health to be tested for some medical issues, or maybe there could be other issues, that it would be covered by insurance. But I haven't heard anyone say yet that they have been, but it seems like you have to pay up front. And I haven't heard anyone say yet that they were reimbursed by their insurance.
Okay. So we're helping people to a certain extent, those in the tourism-related fields and stuff like that, as far as a stipend is concerned, but it's almost we're giving it to you with one hand and we're taking it away with the other.
Exactly. And, I hate to beat up on this point, but I still believe that, as far as the medical traveling and testing, I still believe they would have been better off leaving the inbound testing, coming back in, and because, again, the people are very stressed trying to get this test done and get the results within a 24-hour period in other jurisdictions. Bearing in mind they're paying $250 to get it done. That money could be paid to Cayman,
Yep.
So
good point.
I've been saying it, but obviously I guess it depends on who you are and what you say that it means anything or has any sense to it. Okay. But I'm just speaking as a concerned resident and as one who's been in a paranoid state from the time this virus has come in, and I've been protecting myself everlastingly. And I find it very, very troubling. I just repeat myself here that now that they're going to be charged, and if that is the case, we will have less people turning up to be tested.
Point taken. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Have a great day. Please stay safe. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vant Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons.
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Any callers on hold, Miss Susan? No callers on hold. So I'm going to share with you COVID-19 vaccine for vulnerable children available soon. Public Health Department has received approval from the United Kingdom's Health Services Authority, previously Public Health England, to administer the COVID-19 vaccine to vulnerable, high-risk children ages 5 through 11, which will take place at dedicated clinic times. Public Health will be organizing specific childhood immunization clinics over the coming weeks, as they will not be administered at the COVID vaccination clinic. The public will be advised once the clinic dates and locations are confirmed. These vaccines need to be administered by public health nurses who specialize in children, as the dosage and inoculation for children differs than that of adults, said Dr. Samuel Williams Rodriguez is quoted as saying. Goes on to say a physician letter in support of their patient receiving the vaccine will be required for any administration to this age group. Vulnerable or high-risk children aged 5 to 11 and those on the same age group living with vulnerable or immunocompromised individuals will qualify. This includes children 5 to 11 years old who have chronic respiratory disease, chronic heart conditions, chronic conditions of the kidney, liver, or digestive system, chronic neurological disease, for instance, Down syndrome, endocrine disorders, immunosuppression, i.e., those undergoing chemotherapy or radiation, solid organ transplant recipients, bone marrow or stem cell transplant recipients. So there are various medical conditions that need to be taken into account. And it goes on to say that further announcements are forthcoming in relation to this. So, folks, just want to tell you to look out for that. And, of course, when we get it here on Radio Cayman, we will be sharing it with you as well. But announcements will be made soon in relation to vaccine for vulnerable children between the ages of 8 and 11, and once the clinic dates and location are confirmed, that will be passed on to you, the public, as well. Let's check to see if we have any WhatsApp messages, any questions. Okay, one of our listeners wrote in and said that they missed hearing the chief of protocol on the air, but they are praying that the government will make a decision to cancel the presentations for the nominees for the uniformed services. If they wish, these can be done next year and not announce a new category this week. My reasons are not selfish, but in the interest of us all, as COVID is too rampant and the risks for large gatherings is too great. If they wish to go ahead with the activities related to the national heroes aspect, then do so with a smaller invited group, and we can all watch online or listen to it on our favorite radio station, Radio Cayman. I added that there. They just said radio. They need to set example and follow their own advice regarding unnecessary gathering. We have all had to limit our interactions with others. I am fully vaccinated, but still cautious about my interactions. I know many will say, oh, we have to learn to live with COVID. But why take the chance when we don't know how it will affect us? That is well said. And I think what the writer there, Miss Melanie, did share with us, that the National Heroes portion of it will take place, and limited number of invited guests will be there as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Mr. Hunter. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
I was just trying to follow up on the the previous caller, the press release last Friday.
Yes.
It stated for voluntary persons who are voluntary doing the CPR test.
That's correct.
And I agree with her as it pertains to may result in an increase. The other thing to note is what is considered as voluntary, because throughout the private sector, there are a lot of companies who presently mandate, despite of symptoms, that someone who is not vaccinated, they are required to take a test every week.
Yes.
Therefore, the cost of that then falls on that particular employee.
So the company doesn't bear it at all, that financial...
The company, previously, obviously, it was free. So no one bared the cost, besides for the government paying the testing agent. Presently, now, due to the press release, that is now falling on... The onus is now falling on the employee. Employers are not going to take that cost of possibility $500 extra to give that employee because most of the testing agencies are charging the same price as if you were a traveler.
Okay.
So you're not voluntarily doing it because you want to get tested. You're actually mandated to be tested. And these are things which, like the previous caller stated, we're not sure if all of these have been explored, what is causing, what the effects could be, and if, as it pertains to either a lot of the workforce, some of the persons they're not accepting the lateral flow test across the board. If you're not vaccinated, you are mandated to do CPR.
Okay. And it seems as if the government hasn't given a reason as to why this is being done. Is it too much of a financial burden on the government or what?
Yeah, it isn't clear. And like you said, it is contradictory. But I know previously... before when they started charging for travelers, I had an incident where I went to a testing agent and they were just charging no matter what, because to screen people or to determine whether you're testing for travel or not, they just charged, and we had to we had to ask for a refund because the press release clearly stated travel only. But now that they've put out another press release where it's now required for voluntary, defined voluntary. If my job is requiring me to get tested, it's not voluntary.
So true.
So I just wanted to raise that because there are employers who it is mandated to get tested, but they're not going to put that cost. The cost of living is already... I don't need to say any more than that half a sentence in which I just stated, right? To add on another $500, or it depends, because you're now also, it did not state a fee. So any entity, if they want to charge $300, they can.
Yes, yeah.
You take that times 4 weeks in a month. That's a salary of a very low-lying person that their whole salary will go towards trying to get tested.
So this could prove to be a disincentive, but not only that, it may end up with a loss of jobs as well if persons, can't afford it. Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that to attention. Like I said, you said you look into it. it is very concerning. Even more so, apart from the having to pay for it, the increase in numbers due to persons having to pay for it. Now, people are already don't want to go and get tested, or even if they get tested lateral, not report it. So if you're looking to get another spike, then this is the way to go for it. I give you an A+ for that. But that's not what we want.
That's a good point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for expressing your views, and what you've said there, and is really true. And you're speaking from experience as well. I want to thank you very much for that. We have to take a commercial break. We do have a caller on hold. We will take that caller as soon as we return. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vant Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in your hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons?
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
Radio Cayman News.
Paper examines the current landscape of tribunals in the Cayman Islands. 2 women are stalked, one of them attacked while walking in Georgetown Monday morning.
It is our government's intention to provide an increased emphasis on climate resiliency.
A COVID outbreak is reported at government's residential home that cares for adults with special needs.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Before we grab the caller, I just want to again read the real operative part of this release that was issued in relation to voluntary COVID testing at private facilities no longer free. It says that only where the Public Health Department has required that testing take place, such as isolation/quarantine exit testing or PCR confirmation of a positive lateral flow test, will the cost be borne by government. So government will only bear the cost of the COVID testing where the Public Health Department has required that testing take place, for instance, as isolation/quarantine exit testing or PCR confirmation of a positive lateral flow test. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. You know, I listened earlier. I tried to get in earlier when you spoke about Dolan because I remembered him calling just as the new year began, that Sterling Dwayne came on.
Yes.
And, you know, he told him, he said, I don't know how much longer I will be with you guys, but he said, I love you all. I remember those words right as if it were yesterday.
Yeah, I was listening to that show as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, you know, and his famous saying, I said it, you didn't.
yes, that was another one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's going to surely be missed. And he was an advocate for the airport revamping again. So, you know, while he won't see that happen, but I'm sure, you know, that he was also one that was instrumental in it, or will be.
Uh-huh. Yep. While I have you on the phone, remember the cemetery, the spot thing? I actually, that same day I went and took a look at it, and I did speak with someone at the Public Works Department as well, because they had been involved also. And it appears to me as if what the caller spoke about was absolutely right. I stood on the edge of the road there, and just standing there, not even trying to walk to the gate where the hearse would normally reverse in there, and the traffic was just it's scary, them zooming by.
Very scary.
Yes. So when you go into the when you drive in there to the left, there's a portion of the wall there that is fairly low. And then you have the rock wall that is there. Now, when I look at that rock wall, the way that it is built, I don't believe that it is one of the traditional quote-unquote slave walls that were built. I think that was built there afterwards. So I don't think that I don't think that disturbing that wall would be a problem. But right where the concrete wall and the rock wall join, that is where you could have an opening. Now, there's a walking perimeter around the outside, the outside of the graves there, inside the graveyard itself, but on the outside. But it still may not avoid having to walk on tombstones. On tombs,
tombs,
but it would certainly make it safer for those persons entering there. Yeah. So that to me was the only solution.
And when you have people that are mourning and stuff, they're not paying real attention to how they walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's very, very, very dangerous.
Yeah. And it is a government rule, because there is a sign out there that talks about the recreation and parks unit or something to that effect. So we know that as well. But the person that I've been speaking to at Public Works, and I won't call his name because I don't have permission to call his name, but they have been looking into it, and I think we're going to probably see some action taken pretty soon on that. So if that caller who called in about that is listening, we didn't drop the ball on that. Like I said, that said day, I stopped there and looked at it. And while I was there looking, I made a call to the person at Public Works as well and told them what I saw. And of course, I'm no expert on it, but I think I have pretty good use of common sense.
Yeah. Also on the PCR testing and lateral flow and so forth, I can call it the health city. They'll charge you, if you bring your own test, $8.20 to do the test. Now, when you do that and you go inside the little room that they call you in, you actually do the test. They want to watch you.
Okay. That's interesting.
So they charge you to watch you.
Maybe they should charge them $15 instead, because they got to give you $3 for gas allowance for driving all the way up there too. Fuel allowance.
And then if you don't have your own test, they charge you. I think it's $20 or $25.
Okay.
So it's becoming a money-making venture.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that we hope that it didn't, come down to that where profit, the profit incentive, got to it. Now, we're not rich as the United States of America, where government, can afford to fund more, and they want to fund it because they're trying to combat the problem. But I think it's something that we may need to be revisited soon.
Oh, see, they don't even tell you that you would say 24-hour test. So if you go there one day and you want to go back the next day, if you go within that 24-hour period, you don't have to take another one. So, there was a lady, because I went there to look for my son, and there was a lady there. Her daughter's in there and been there since December. And she said every day that she go up there, she brought her test and done it because, she works at the prison. So she has to do it regular at the prison as well. And when I told her, she said, what? She said, I come here every day? She said, I didn't know that. I said, no. She said, they didn't tell me. So, these are things that, they could at least tell the public, if you come tomorrow at the same time, you don't have to take another one, or, something to that effect. So if anyone is listening that needs to go up there regular, make sure you go within the 24-hour period and you don't have to do the other test or pay for another test.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much,
You're
for
very
that.
welcome.
Take care. Please stay safe as
All right,
well.
you too.
Any more
Thank
callers,
you,
Miss
too.
Susan? No more callers? Okay. We only have about 4 minutes left. I'm going through the WhatsApp messages to see. Person said that is so true. I did that Saturday visiting. I'm not sure. Okay. There's an article that I wanted to share in relation to an authority. And we spoke this morning with Dr. Shara Smith about scholarships and everything else. And I can only summarize this for you. It has to do with University of Technology in Jamaica, where a person who was doing a master's degree program, and I think it's since somewhere in 2015, they have been unable to get their diploma because the university is saying that they're delinquent in some fees, so they're holding it back. And they have said that they're not delinquent, that they have paid up. It was heard by a lower court, and then the person sought to, they weren't successful. They appealed it, and they then received permission for judicial review. But it's a long article. But it goes on to show you again, how public authorities, public bodies, because UTech is a government-owned institution, government-run institution as well, how you can make them accountable, hold them accountable, and this person, as a result, is going to have their day in court as a result of the challenges, because they have been held up. They have not been able to necessarily get the dream job that they want, because when they submit on their application, the fact that their diploma is pending doesn't help them much. But if you're interested in it, this was in yesterday's Jamaica Gleaner, and Google former student wins appeal against UTech in degree dispute. So if you have an interest in legal issues, you may be more interested and inclined to read it to see exactly the reasonings that were made, the reason that was made by by a lower court, and then a reversal by another court. And you know, courts don't necessarily like to reverse or to change things that their fellow judges have ruled upon, but when the law can't be disputed, and then they have no other choice but to do so. So if you have an interest in it, like I said, Google former student wins appeal against UTEC in degree dispute. I have so much to share from Tradewinds newspapers in the years 1965, 1966, and I have some of 1967, like this date in history. But the conversations have been so intense here on For the Record that I have not had an opportunity to resort to those. But hopefully, one of these days when it's not too busy, I will be able to share them with you. And the reason that it is busy is because of you, our listening and viewing audience. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily we also always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling, Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Thinking of getting a hybrid but don't know much about them? Vamp Motors has 3 great reasons why you should own the Toyota CHR. Hybrids save fuel, run cleaner, reduce CO2 emissions, and even recharge their batteries while being driven. So there's no need to plug in a hybrid, making it both economical and fun to drive. And you don't have to replace your battery every 2 years. The CHR Hybrid is reliable, providing up to 1 million kilometers on the same battery and engine. Oh, and now you can save $2,000 off the Toyota CHR, starting at only $33,500.
That's way more than 3 reasons?
True, but the best one is that it's on sale now. Test drive the Toyota CHR today at Vamp Motors, Walkers Road, while stocks last.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group,